If you really want to start saving money, the first thing you need to do is stop throwing it away. I know that many of us focus on earning more, but if you don't train yourself and learn to avoid wasting money, to stop throwing it down the drain, you'll always end up in the same place. And I'm telling you this as someone who's been through it myself, so I've experienced it firsthand. What does it mean to try to fill a leaky bucket with water? You're there like a madman, working frantically to fill this bucket. But damn it, it's so full of holes that it feels like you're fighting windmills. So if this image resonates with you, stay tuned to this video because we're going to take a look. 7 expenses to eliminate immediately to have more money in your wallet. First thing, guys, smoking. Smoking, guys. Those who smoke have a lot less money than those who don't. It's pointless, guys. It's been several months, I'd even say years, that I've been observing the people around me. Which ones have a better lifestyle, who have a bit more money, and which ones have less. And those who have less have this thing in common, they smoke. Those who smoke obviously have an expense, then you can, like I used to do. Yes, no, but I buy tobacco and roll my own. Guys, at the end of the day, it's always a fixed expense that you have on your shoulders. So try right now, if you smoke, to do the math on how much you spend every month on cigarettes. Now imagine having that extra money in your pocket. How would your life be? Would it be better? Would you have a bit more breathing room? Absolutely, I've experienced that myself. I used to smoke. It was one of the first expenses I cut, and I also started putting aside that same amount. So the 100 to 150 euros a month that I used to spend on smoking. I started putting it aside to create my emergency fund. That's where, from this thing, I really started to save. Now, guys, I know very well that not everyone can quit smoking. I know very well that it's not easy. I myself tried twice and fell back into it, so I know what I'm talking about. I don't want to act like a know-it-all and say things I haven't experienced myself, but I know what it means. So I also know that there are people who just can't quit completely. But guys, try to cut down as much as possible because you're basically burning your money there. I mean, it's like every day, I don't know, you spend 5 euros on a pack of cigarettes. It's like taking a 5 euro bill every day and setting it on fire. I mean, does that make sense? Is that something you would do if it were actual bills? I don't think so. So this is the first expense to cut, and I can tell you something. Another mistake people sometimes make is focusing too much on saving. On small things, maybe 1 euro, 2 euros, 5 euros, maybe on little things that definitely have an impact. But sometimes it's better to focus on something that has a much bigger impact, something that would help us save a lot more money all at once, rather than worrying about other small expenses. Okay, I don't know if I made myself clear, but this is kind of the Pareto principle. Maybe I'll talk about it in another video. In the meantime, if you haven't done it yet, subscribe to the channel, especially if you want to learn how to save, manage your money, and even start making some investments. Another thing that really gets on my nerves is scratch cards, lotteries, and gambling. I know very well. I know exactly what it feels like not to have money. I know exactly what it means to struggle to make it to the end of the month. And I know it very well. That when you're in a situation like that, you think your life can change in the blink of an eye. You think your life can change with a stroke of luck. Well, guys, that's an illusion. I learned it the hard way. It's not like that. First, even if you win a huge sum, if you can't manage it and spend it all in a few years, which has been proven, try searching on the internet and you'll see that a good number of people who win the lottery end up in a worse situation than before in less than 5 years. Why? Because they don't know how to manage all that money, so they end up blowing it. As I always say, it's not about how much money you have, but how you manage it. I know someone might say, well, if I go there, maybe I'm still tied to the previous vice. What should I do? Coffee, cigarettes, and scratch-off tickets. Coffee, cigarettes, and scratch-off tickets every day. This means that every day you spend 10 euros without exaggerating. I mean, that's 300 euros a month if you think about it like that. So just try to imagine eliminating these things. How much more money could you have in your pocket? But guys, the dumbest way to spend money is to spend it on scratch-off tickets. Because guys, it's a system that always makes you lose. I mean, you just have the illusion of winning every now and then. 20 euros, 50 euros, yeah, maybe even 100 euros. but you don't think about all the money you've put in and spent before on all those tickets that weren't winners. So guys, this is the dumbest thing ever. Stop buying scratch-off tickets right now. Sorry, no, I want to use strong words, but they're traps for poor people. Because you hope you can change your life with that thing, but your life won't change in a moment. Your life will change the moment you take control of your finances, take responsibility, and stop hoping for a lucky break. That from one day to the next, your life changes, because that's not how you change your life. Changing your life is a process. It takes time. But this definitely means taking responsibility and not hoping for luck, because luck doesn't exist. You create your own luck. In this case, you need to take control of your finances. Now, number 3, ghost subscriptions. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but there are more and more subscription services, especially when it comes to entertainment, but also for a lot of other things. Car insurance can now be paid monthly over 12 months instead of all at once, making it a monthly installment. And then there's €5 here, €5 there, €7 somewhere else. Now, how many of these services do you actually use? Try to think about it. Most of the time we use maybe 20% of them. So, okay, I also have some streaming subscriptions. Because we don't go out often, we don't go to the movies, we don't go to restaurants, we don't go out for drinks, so we entertain ourselves this way. At home we have Netflix, we have the 4 screens and everything, but that's it. It's not like we have other things we don't use. So I'll give you a golden rule. Everything that's automatic, so payments that are automatically charged to your account, it needs to be checked every 3 months, monitored every 3 months, and cleaned up. If, in fact, we realize we're not using that service, that subscription, or that installment plan, let's put it that way. Because, guys, the trick is to keep your fixed expenses as low as possible. You really need to cut recurring expenses down to the bone. Number 4, shopping due to stress or boredom. I've experienced this myself. I know very well what it means to wait for your paycheck, and then when payday comes, the first thing you do after work is stop somewhere to spend money to buy something. Why? Why? It's like a sense of liberation, right? But what's the point? The thing is, you're not solving the problem. In fact, you're making it worse. You're often spending money unnecessarily. And to try to give yourself a feeling of happiness, that's only an illusion. Another big problem is when we don't know what to do and we go to the mall to shop or just spend time. Maybe on Amazon, because now we can shop from home too by going on websites on e-commerce, and anything that can make us buy a product we buy out of boredom. This is something really poisonous for your finances. It's something that eats away at your account without you even noticing. And try to think about, I don't know, the last 5 purchases you made out of boredom. Are these things that you really need? Are these things you're actually using? Are these things that add value to your life? Because then when we make purchases, this is also the kind of thought that should guide us. I mean, does this thing really add value to my life? Does it really improve my life or not? And this is a very powerful question that I encourage you to ask yourself constantly whenever you find yourself facing a possible purchase. Number 5, penalties and late fees. This is also something I've been through, something that haunted me for years. For me, it was specifically about car taxes. No, because at a certain point I thought I was the smartest person on earth, and I said, that's it, I'm not paying car taxes anymore. But come on, I don't want to give them money. Yes, of course, they all came with interest, and every year I had to pay €100 more. Every year I was behind by 5 or 6. Now, I don't remember exactly, but if you know my story, you know that I was a disaster at managing money before too. So look, I'm absolutely not here to judge you. I'm here, I totally understand you, because I was the first one to have these kinds of problems. So for sure, now I gave the example of the car tax, but there are so many other things, like the fine you forget to pay or the bill you forget to pay. Everything that increases when we pay it late. These are also really wasted money. They're really just given away. Why? Because we're not managing our money. Because if you manage your money and even just spend an hour each week checking, the various bills and things you have to pay, that's it. you'd definitely be more on top of things and save a good part of those penalties. Then sure, you might still miss one sometimes because we're human after all, but if you're on top of things, you avoid giving money away because that's really just money given away for nothing. Guys, come on, let's be honest. Number 6, discounts, a trap. How many times have you found yourself buying something just because it was on sale, but then you realized in the end you didn't really need it? Really? Quite a few times? Come on guys, nowadays marketing is really powerful. Marketing is psychology, so it uses tactics that lead us to buy things. Now it's one thing if my goal is to buy a specific thing. I know I can afford it, I know I really need it, so it would be useful to me, or maybe I need it for work. That could also be an example. I'm keeping an eye on it. I know that same model costs 300 euros and at some point they put it at 220. Okay, that's a purchase made with awareness, but what about the purchase I make on impulse just because I see the 3 times 2 or just because I see it? 50% off, only for this month there's this discount and so on, and these are expenses I don't make consciously. So that's money wasted because most of the time, in fact, they're not things we need or things we actually need. So this is definitely an expense to cut right away. Number 7, then there would be so many more, guys. Maybe write me in the comments if you want other videos like this. It's the excessive use of the car. And on this, guys, I go crazy because I live in a small town of 5,000 inhabitants. The kids' school from my house is not even a kilometer away, it's just under a kilometer. And I see people who, from where I live, go pick up their kids from school by car. Well, okay, but it's just 2 minutes. Still, a car in low gear uses much more fuel than in high gear, so maybe on the highway or whatever, but in the city, it uses more. Second, you do it every day, so back and forth every day. At the end of the year, it's money. It's money that if you add up all these things I told you about, it turns out to be quite a nice sum, not a small amount. And you could really improve your life even if you just focused on eliminating 2 or 3 of these things I told you about. You would definitely have more money in your wallet. Maybe do the math yourself. Try to figure out how much you spend now and how much you could avoid spending, and therefore how much more money you would have in your bank account at the end of the month. So this thing about the car is very important because the car is one of the expenses that has the biggest impact on the family budget, on a family's finances. Because the point isn't just the gas, the fuel, but also the wear and tear on the car. Because the tires wear out, the brakes wear out, you put miles on the car and so it wears out faster. Maybe you could, I don't know, save money, change the car a year or 2 later, or the tires, they could last you 6 months longer anyway. The same applies to the brakes. We often underestimate these things. So guys, now if you really intend to take control of your life, your finances, write to me immediately in the comments. Which of these expenses do you want to eliminate starting today? Write it down, do it, put it into practice, and you'll see how much more money you'll have in your wallet. That said, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and as usual, I'll see you around.